I love you.
Welcome back to the couch. Potatoes. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. This is a podcast about movies and TV. And it's called Green and Faceless on the Couch.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're here with a rip-roaring good episode. An episode we've been putting off for months.
Not intentionally.
Not intentionally, but I don't know. The schedule kept getting weirder and weirder, and we kept pushing it further and further back.
Yeah, well, we did a good job of getting things done ahead of time.
Yeah.
Before the holiday break, and then when we came back from it, we're like, no.
More break. More break, please.
No, we were just sick, and on my side of things, there was illness.
And I was, mentally ill on my side.
Well, I'm not going to say we're not on our side, but...
It's been a rough one, everybody, and this is a rough one. This is going to be a deep dive into Will and Harper, Netflix documentary.
And maybe before we do that, though, we should do a quick announcements thing, so we don't at the end of don't forget at the end,
so that we don't bum down the announcements. It's not going to get a bummer. I'm going to go deep into my own personal trans experience,
and it really, for both of us, I think, really kind of speaks to our experience with your transition. And I know that it's your transition.
Yeah, it's my transition. Get your grubby male hands off of it.
But I do appreciate Will and Harper's relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been very fortunate to have a lot of that friendship that Harper's kind of missing out on.
Yeah.
This. But yeah, announcements.
Yeah, so first off,
it's
just a general reminder that fundraising for When Magic Touches Stone is still open at GoFundMe.com/IF/ I'll put it in here.
I was about to be very impressed. This was like when we used to live together and everybody would ask what the Wi-Fi password was. And I would spout it off and everybody would be like, why do you remember these random numbers and symbols and letters?
I'm pretty sure it's GoFundMe.com/F/WNTS fundraiser. Pretty sure that's it. But
that's very close, if not.
If that's not it, I'm sorry, but you could go to GoFundMe and search it. That being said, I really hate pushing for it because there are people in our country that need help right now because they've lost everything in a fire or several fires in California.
It's very awful.
So right now, what we're doing to help, because it's what we can do to help, we have very little income between us. We are donating 50% of what we get in our Patreon.
Yes.
And that's patreon.com/greenandfaceless. But, we encourage people to, donate directly to help the people out there.
And to our patrons who have donated, we really appreciate all of your love and support. Yeah. I don't imagine anybody out there would be against us donating partial of that funds.
Yeah, I hope not.
Hopefully not.
And I suppose if you want to reach out to us and say that
not my funds,
don't want us to use those funds that you were giving us, I think it's important that we help in some way, and
it's a good cause.
What we can do. So thanks for that. That's my announcements.
Oh.
Do you have anything?
I thought you had more announcements. I was about to subtly look at my phone and read a message here. It's from my mom. She's an adorable woman. Mm-hmm. I'll ignore it for now.
And
she'll understand.
Our staunchest supporter.
Our staunchest. Let's not call it our starchiest.
Our starchiest.
Because our potatoes, not don't read into it. Oh, shit. Foot and mouth disease. Here it comes. No, we're talking Will and Harper today. If you do not know, Will and Harper is Will Ferrell and his good friend who is a writer on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Harper Steele. Harper Steele is a trans female. Just came out in her 60s, I believe.
I
late
believe
50s.
In the film, she's 61.
Yeah, so late 50s is probably when she made the announcement. And yeah, if you guys further do not know, I myself am trans female, non-binary. So I prefer they them pronouns, but if you're gonna slip on the female side, please.
Yeah.
And not even to say that the people who refer, because a lot of people in my life now refer to me with she, her pronouns, which is great. It's just that I personally, for me, there is a certain level of like a cultural feel for that pronoun for me. So it's like before I feel comfortable being she, her, I need to be more knowledgeable about the she, her experience, if that makes sense.
I know, I get you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I am trying to call you Gray more often than not. Transition away from Greg, even though you say you still accept that.
It's kind of nice. It's kind of funny. A lot of people just like instinctually did that, and maybe it's easier for other people to get on board with the pronoun. I think at least, especially at work, it kind of seems like it's helped a lot of people just to start calling me Gray.
Yeah.
But yeah, I truly am totally okay with Greg. I love that name. My mom chose it for me. I love my mom. And that's another thing. I'm very fortunate. She's a wonderful woman. I've been very fortunate in my life, even though I still have a lot of depression, a lot of fears and everything. A lot of that's gone since transitioning, mainly because of the support from family and friends. Like, I've been very fortunate, and I'm not going to, for a second, deny how good I've had it compared to others.
Like, if we were to compare to Harper, for example, they are much older when they decided to do this, and all their friends and family are much older.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that our culture, our generation has been much more exposed to this as something positive, whereas older generations it's completely taboo.
Yeah, it's odd. It's very odd. And I won't go into the religious side of things too much, but I think a lot of hatred comes from this religious side, and it's so weird to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, one of the angles I get a lot, especially at work, is there's a lot of women who, they'll try to use the proper pronouns, but if they're trying really hard, they're the very same woman that's gonna start pushing God on me a lot.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, the more I talk to them and unravel it sneakily through my work tactics, the more I realize, they think it's my transsexuality is wrong because it's like, it's against God's path.
Yeah.
And to anybody out there who's listening to this and hears this, you're a fucking idiot if that's what you believe. Because, one, you're an idiot for thinking you know what God wants.
Sure, yeah.
I am an atheist. I do not believe in God, but I have read your Bible. You are blasphemous for thinking anything about knowing what God wants.
It's ineffable.
Exactly. It's
go watch Good Omens.
Yeah. It's God's plan, though. That's the thing. And if you read the Bible, if you actually dive in and read the Bible, there are numerous characters and people in the Bible whose God's plan for them was a complete change of their life.
Yeah.
Saul to Paul.
Yeah.
Like, they're not asking Saul to become... Yeah, exactly. They're not asking Saul, though, to transition, but that's because they didn't have fucking surgery back then. So who's to say that this isn't my test from God, even though I'm an atheist and don't believe that?
Right.
For Christians, why can't that be the easiest solution for you guys? Yeah. To come to terms with what's going on, you can't understand it, but this is God's plan. It's not for you to understand.
Yeah. There's something is in your mind that this is what you're supposed to be in the world.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's another thing, is in the movie, Will and Harper, Harper's experience was they always knew.
Right.
They, and they tell this little story where in school, they were lined up for the bathroom, and you had the boys' bathroom line, the girls' bathroom line, and she went to the girls' bathroom line even though she's male presenting as a child.
Yeah, I do think that was the other woman that they meet later.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I had either way, it was like I had a very similar experience in school, though.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was, they split, and it's in my book, because I'm writing a novel right now about a trans woman, and I pretty much use that story almost verbatim from my book. I mean, except the mom in my book is far meaner than my mom.
Oh, well, I mean...
I dug deep for a little different type of trauma there. But, hi Zelda, your tail's hitting me. I thought somebody was tapping my knee and it almost scared the shit out of me.
I really can't imagine your mom being mean.
No, she never was mean. She's always been very open-minded. She might not understand, but
sure.
She always wants to be in the know and be as helpful as she can be, which when it comes to relationships, sorry mom, that's who I am. I have too much non-understandable shit going on there. But in every other aspect of my life, I'm very open with my mom. And it took a while to be open about my thought of things, because like personally, even though Harper always kind of knew who she was, right. she put it as I think early in the movie, she put it as her male-presenting persona was a character.
Right.
Like, and she was acting as this character for all of society. And then when she would go home, she would, dress different and everything. I did that all the time. And I didn't realize I was doing it because I felt more effeminate, personality-wise. Hold on a second. I gotta make sure she's got water.
Oh, okay. That's what's going on. I thought maybe it sounded like she was getting sick.
No, she was moving her pan around because
There's no water.
I hear it dripping.
There's no water, Mona. Zelda, you're fun.
I love you. But no, I did that all the time. Because
you're so good at that. Just picking up right where you were. I can't remember what I was talking about for 2 minutes. For 2 seconds.
See, your ADHD is different than mine. My ADHD is I got up, and when I got up, I was just like, that's all I was thinking of over and over in my head was, but I lost the phrase now. I don't know what I had said.
I'm so sorry.
What did I say?
You said... Anyways.
No, I didn't. That's your thing. You always say anyways. Anyways is your thing. No, it was about Harper like always knowing that she was female.
And also the persona of Annie.
Yeah. I never knew that it was because I was female.
Right.
I just knew that I liked the cross-dress. And I thought that was the extent of it. I thought I was just a private drag queen. Sure. Because I would do that all the time. I would, specifically around holidays. I never went home on Christmas and Thanksgiving and everything. Not because I didn't love my family. It was because I had the fucking house to myself.
Oh, so I was totally crashing your shit.
No. Well, I would want people. That was the thing, is I would want people around because I was ashamed of doing this all the time. I was ashamed of wanting to wear heels and dresses and all that stuff. And there was that one time where Thomas, our roommate Thomas,
oh God,
I won't say which, we had many roommates named Thomas, but there was one time where I thought everybody had left and I was very excited.
Yeah.
And I may have rolled a little bit of a joint and smoked in my bathtub. And I come downstairs and I was in a bathrobe, but I had lingerie on underneath it. I mean, he didn't need to know that, but I had a bathrobe on and I came downstairs and him and his whole family were down there and I was like, I want to go back upstairs now. How are you guys doing? Nice to meet y'all. Very happy I had a bathrobe on. That would have been very weird. But yeah.
Just that whole house experience was very
it was very fascinating.
Yeah.
But no, like, there's a lot of things I masked growing up. Like my autism, my depression, like so many things I masked. And I thought that's all it was. I thought my cross-dressing was just part of I didn't realize it was autism until I had a therapist later in life tell me that I basically am autistic, but that I've been masking for way too long and they can't accurately do a diagnosis on that. And my poor mom's gonna hear all this and think she's like a bad parent. You're an amazing mom. Like, it's not because of my home life that I masked everything. It was a lot of other issues.
It's because of, well, I mean, it's not that they were intentionally pushing what society thinks a little boy should be on you. It's just that they were raising you, and they live in a society where that's how you raise your children, at least at the time.
Yeah, and it's like societally, everything that I felt internally was taboo, so I just fucking hid that shit.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's a totally different thing, and I can pass any day of the week. But, you know, being pan, it also took me, that's also, I can pass, you know? So it took me a long time to decide that I could tell my folks about this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say it went perfectly.
Oh my God.
But we're all good now.
When I came out as trans, you know, I haven't had a relationship since then because, you know, there's that internal fear that you're just not going to be loved the same.
Sure.
You know, even though I know, given all my friends and family, that's not true.
Yeah.
But
also, you know, I feel like you have to give yourself a chance to figure out who you are too. And I do think you've come a really long way on that.
I think so too. Yeah. Because, and I know this is a podcast about movies. Literally all I'm doing is paralleling what the movie is. Yeah. By talking about my trans experience, that's what goes on in this movie. It's just Harper and Will on a road trip across America where they discover the trans experience for them, where they discover, you know, other people's viewpoints on it. And one of those things that Harper talks about, and I'm going to get real deep here, and I'm very, very sorry, especially to my mom. Don't skip forward 5 minutes. God forbid, please. Before I transitioned, I was suicidal. Like, there was a moment where I almost hung myself, and the bar broke. Oh, man. And I remember that clearly because there was a time where you were going to go into my closet, and I yelled at you for it. Oh. Because you would open my closet door, and I was like, you don't go into another person's closet. Like, get the fuck out of there. And you're just like, I was just grabbing something. And I was just like, get the fuck... What I didn't want you to see was the fucking bar broken in half. Yeah. Like, not that you would have recognized what the hell that was. Right. Like, to you, it would have just been like, well, this building sucks. It's old.
I'm sad I didn't know it had gotten that bad.
And a lot of it was just, I'm fighting back, not crying.
It's okay.
I know. I don't want to cry on the podcast. That's the thing.
It might not seem like it would make a great audio product.
Oh, no. The problem is I wouldn't be able to talk for 5 minutes because I don't have the ability to talk through crying. Sure. I just like break down. But like, I know where, you know, I know that mindset. I've seen a lot of suicide in life. I've had quite a few friends who have committed suicide, whether it's drug overdose or forced, like actual, you know, taking a gun. Yeah.
I've had more than I care to have experienced some family members that it hit me harder than I thought it would. And yeah, one of them was a really good friend in high school because we were in the same class, and all our other friends, you know, stayed in town and said he seemed fine. And, you know, that's what's really scary about suicidal thoughts.
And that's the thing is, like, when you have these, like, because that's another problem is, like, people tell you feel that way, go talk to a therapist, or always, you know, talk to me if you're ever feeling that way. Yeah. When you're feeling suicidal, the last thing you want to do is talk. The last thing you want to do is reach out, which is the thing you need to do the most.
Right, of course. If you are out there, and you feel like this right now, or you felt like it even last night, reach out to somebody. That's how you get healthy. Yeah, it's really hard to do that in the moment, but it's really essential. And I've called the helpline before. It's not always helpful, but it has been helpful in the past. I mean, at least for me, it was helpful, but I know for some people it's not always helpful. But like, ever since I transitioned, a lot of that's gone. Like, because I'm starting to, because I feel me more. You know, it used to be where I would just like sit in front of the TV and just like, I'd feel nothing and I'd hate everything about me. But now I actually, like, you know, if I'm feeling that way, if I'm in the TV, then I'm like, I'm just going to go put on makeup and dance and put on a vinyl or something. Or I'm more willing to reach out to friends to go out to places and everything. I know, you got like a whole social life and shit.
I know, it's crazy. I know, it's good. Well, I used to hide that stuff too. It's like a lot of my social life was like one night stands and things. And if I ever did have a relationship, I would never tell anybody about it. Yeah. Like, a lot of my... Like, I never had relationships... I still haven't had relationships longer than, like, a month. But a lot of relationships, like, I would see somebody for a week, I'd feel really depressed about it when they stopped like talking to me or whatever, and I wouldn't tell anybody, and I would just mask that shit. But now it's more willing to be open because I fucking need to talk about it.
Yeah,
and I understand that.
Yeah,
and that's a lot. That's one thing that Harper goes through a lot of. She talks about how she never would get a gun.
Yeah, she got close.
Yeah, because she knew if she got a gun, she would have the impulse of unaliving herself.
Yes,
and I'm the same way. You will never see me own a gun because I know how quick those thoughts can come.
Yeah,
and I mean, I haven't had them I had them recently, but not anywhere near as bad as they used to be.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well, this is a good movie.
It really is.
It is. But you did really, to bring it into the film, really made me think about the house that she bought.
Yeah.
So she bought a house in a place that she liked that was in the middle of nowhere in the desert. It was for her to be able to be a woman, but alone, because she couldn't do it in front of everybody else. It's not just that, times were different then. This is like just 10 years ago that she was doing this. It's not something that it's easy to overcome, that barrier between this is eating me away inside and letting everybody know who you really are.
Yeah.
Like, I had such a smaller hurdle to jump than you did. But I did feel it, that resistance, that shoving down,
Yeah, and that's the thing though, is like I had a breakdown earlier today. I was playing Minecraft with a friend, and another friend of mine's going through something to me that is mammoth. It's colossal.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine how they're dealing with that. And I broke down with like crying to my friend because I was just like, it felt unfair that I was feeling the way I was feeling while she is dealing with something so much worse.
Yeah.
And she reminded me that what I'm going through is colossal.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a different layer of mammoth. So that's what I'm trying to say to you is like what you went through is also colossal. But it's just like to everybody, it's always just it's gonna. It feels like a smaller mountain for everybody when they're the ones that climbed it.
So you're saying that it's easy to belittle your own accomplishments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I do a lot. Man, that scene where they go back to her house, though.
Oh, yeah, and it's been destroyed with graffiti.
Yeah, it got vandalized while they were working in New York or something like that. And they said I believe they said that's when they got the closest, when they came back to the house.
Yeah, getting a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's the hardest part of this movie is watching Harper, because she deals a lot with the public in this.
Yeah, a lot.
And she used to go to the skeeviest of places. Let me clarify, when I say skeevy, it's to me it would seem skeevy, like rodeos and car races and
bars,
dive bars, like places where you would find the manliest of men, the spitters and the hairy knuckles.
I do think at one time they say like that was part of the mask at first.
Yeah.
But then they found that they really
enjoy
that. Yeah.
And trying to get back into that experience to witness those things, it's kind of heart-wrenching because some of the areas that they go to, Will and her, they're accepted. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Oh my God, one place they went, a rebel flag, and then a Trump flag, and then an American flag right next to each other. And then down a little bit, it had in Biden's font that he was going for the campaign, "Fuck Biden."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is the bar that Harper chose.
Yeah, and
those people were totally...
Yeah.
They were cool.
They were okay.
They took them a second to recognize that who they were talking to was a woman.
And a lot of their thoughts, like the viewpoints that are
Yeah.
presented, it's very clear that they were presented because one, Will Ferrell was there.
Sure.
They noticed
sure.
like because they did like a little bit of an experiment where Harper went in first, and then after a few minutes she called Will to come in and basically rescue her because like the anxiety was getting to be too much.
So I totally read that scene a totally different way, actually.
Yeah, that's fair.
I haven't, I don't have the same perspective as you do, but I read it as she thought that the interactions with, some of the people were okay. And like, cause there was one thing that she said, like, I've been out to a lot of bars. Yeah. I'm just trying it again. And somebody was like, well, you should come out. Yeah. And, that's...
Well, that didn't happen. The person that told her that she should come out was the races. That was at the races, right. Where the father and his daughter, father and his son. Yeah. Which was that was a sweet moment. Yeah, I like that. But at the bar, they were all misgendering her and like they were being jovial, but it kind of felt like a jocular a bit. Sure. But then once Will Ferrell came in, they were all kind of over Will. And we're just like, Talladega Nights, yeah, Ricky Bobby, like, oh, yeah. And they were loving him, and then they were a little nicer to her because of his presence, and the camera's presence was more noticeable, too. Like, that's the other thing, is it's a documentary. You have to remember that the camera's always there. They're not hiding the camera. Yeah, that's true. So, a lot of the stuff that's presented...
They're not going to say the most racist thing when they know a camera's on them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that does happen. There is one moment where they go to a bar, not a bar, but like it's a social event in Texas.
It's a restaurant.
A restaurant, yeah.
It's a big steakhouse, and they have one of those competitions. If you can eat their biggest steak, your meal was free, and maybe get like a $30 gift certificate or something. Yeah. And decides he's going to do that dressed as Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, to alleviate the tension.
And it has the exact opposite effect. And, man, I was sitting there being like, oh, Will, why did you do this?
Yeah, it's a hard scene.
It is a really hard scene. And the next day, Will's the one who breaks down and is like, I can't believe I did that. I put you in so much danger.
He felt like he let her down because, he made a mockery of the situation. Yeah. And everybody being in a jocular manner, especially in Texas, when you get to having a good laugh, you don't realize how bullyish you're becoming. Sure. And it just builds.
I think, like, the glares and things that people were saying, they disgusting. Were overtly mean. Yeah. And then they had the Twitter storm afterwards, which happened after the Pacer game, too. I don't think we mentioned that. They did stop in our home state and go to a Pacer game. Woo! And met the governor.
The former governor Eric Holcomb, who famously signed in a lot of anti-trans and LGBT bills. Yeah. Very disgusting man who, the only thing that I ever appreciated about him was the fact that he had a beard. I do think that we need more facial hair in politics.
Totally fair.
It's the same thing with the Trump administration. If somebody had to tell me to name one good thing that I liked about the Trump administration, it's that
Vince has a beard.
His vice president has a beard, and I think there needs to be more facial hair in politics.
It's Vance, it's not Vince.
It's whatever his fucking name is.
I don't remember.
He's
the vice president now.
Yeah. Oh God, help us all. Yeah, that's right, Zelda. That's right. The other last thing I wanted to talk about that was a big part of the movie. State of the Union. Yes, she is. She's very worried. No, the other thing I wanted to talk about that's a big part of the movie and a big part of my current life is Harper's issue with her voice. Harper, like me, has gone to a lot of therapy. Like me also, I think it's very important to point out, my very first therapist was completely against the idea that I was trans. I was trying to talk to him about, and he admitted up front that he hasn't researched that at all, and that he thought maybe I should go to a different therapist. I understand he professionally was trying to offer me the best route. Traumatically, all it basically made me feel was just like I
rejected it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's what happened with my doctor too. So I had a general practitioner who used to have a practice with my uncle, in fact. And when I mentioned to him, I was just like, hey, I think I'm trans and I want to go down that path. He immediately dropped me as a patient. He found me a replacement. And I didn't know anything about it. It was just like the next day I got a call from somebody who was like, hey, I got a referral from such and such doctor. And I was just like, oh, cool, for this. And they were just like, well, for that and also for general practitioner, they don't want to be your practitioner anymore. And I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah, he just blatantly dropped me. And, because I'm that kind of a person, I always think there has, I don't know the full story. There could be a positive light on it. Maybe they're, from a professional standpoint, just trying to find me the right path.
Sure.
Could have handled it differently. But,
definitely.
Yeah, Harper had a very similar experience with her first therapist, which was, the therapist was basically like, well, I think this is a lot of repressed rage, repressed sexuality, like a lot of stuff like that. And it's just like, I'm not going to deny that there was a lot of that, but a lot of that was my testosterone. It was it was my hormones being way out of balance for my brain.
Sure.
Because my brain wanted to be in a certain area and the testosterone was like, no boobies. And my brain was like, yeah, but that dress. And the brain was just like, also, no, but boobies though. And now I'm at a perfect balance where I can be like, damn, those boobies in that dress though.
Those boobies in that dress.
And I'm like, I can enjoy it all now. It's wonderful. But the big one is the voice. I'm personally getting ready to go to voice therapy to help hopefully transition my voice because I want it to be different. Harper was different. Harper realized that she was doing it because she was trying to make it acceptable for society.
Yeah, I think that was also that woman in Illinois.
Yeah.
But sorry to correct you on it.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know if you are.
I don't know if I'm correct either, but I'm pretty sure that was Kathleen's. I just don't want to cut Kathleen out of the show because
no, I understand.
I thought that was a pretty
I think what
part.
you were missing though was in that conversation, Harper says, I didn't know if I was doing it for myself or if I was doing this so that I would fit in with society. Oh, okay. And I chose that I was doing it for society.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I'm pretty sure that was Harper that said that because I resonated with that a lot because that's what started to make me cry when I was watching the movie was because I've had that fight where I was just like, where I was seeking voice therapy and I didn't know because I hate my voice, but I love my voice.
Yeah.
Because I like the voices I can do, even though I don't think they're great. In my head, they sound amazing, and it makes me laugh, and that's all that matters. But at the same time, I hear my voice back, and I'm disgusted by it. And that's how I felt when I would look in the mirror in the mornings, was I would look at myself, and I would just be disgusted by how I looked. Even though when I look back at myself with a beard and in a suit and tie, I'm like, you know what, I was handsome. But when I was that person, I would look at myself and be like, Jesus Christ, I'm an ugly sack of shit.
Because it wasn't you.
Exactly. I wasn't attracted to me. And for a lot of people, it's okay. You don't have to be attracted to yourself. But for me, I needed that. That was and I needed that, like, to know inside and out is the same. And voice-wise, I'm not doing it for other people. I'm doing it for me. But that is one of the key factors, because I am fortunate enough that if I am holding myself right, smiling in a certain way, I can pass. And at work, I'm fortunate enough that, for the most part, there's a lot of areas where I could pass. But once I would speak, that's when I would start getting misgendered.
Yeah.
Especially when in a redneck bunch, they would come in, they would be like, I don't know if this is a man or a woman. And I'd be like, I can help you back here. And they're like, man. And it's just like, God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a trap that people in our culture are in, is that just don't assume somebody's gender.
Yeah.
I mean, you just come up to the person and talk to them.
Yeah.
No gender has to be involved.
Yeah, people seem to forget that we're all just humans. That's what really matters.
Yeah. And just treat that person with respect and then go home.
Yeah, exactly. God, that's so hard for so many people at
know.
Work.
I'm sorry that you have to be in that position.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and it's not just me. It's I mean, obviously a lot of trans people feel that, but a lot of people of non-white skin feel that. A lot of women in general feel that.
Yeah, of course.
Especially in the customer relationship environment where, I work at a credit union, and the amount of individuals who just want to lean over and grab women's hands.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's really creepy.
Like Sarah had it done to her when she worked the front line, and that's why she went to do the phones. Yeah. And then all they could say is, "Ooh, you got such a nice voice." Oh gosh, God, I love that raspy voice.
Mom, when you say that, it's beautiful and endearing, and Sarah understands. She's got trauma from it, though.
And when my dad says it,
it's traumatic. Your dad's not saying it the same way my mom's saying it. But no, this is a very beautiful movie. I know we talked more about my experience than the movie, but that's because I related a lot to what Harper had to say. We have very differing experiences pre and post transition. Harper was a very different individual than I was pre-transitioning. And there's still, there's a lot of journey left to go for me. Like, something exploded outside my door, and like that happened twice yesterday too. Like,
exploded?
Basically, like I think it's like the wood popping because of how cold it is. Yeah. But I'm like if my fucking deck falls over, goodness me, people been having a day, and that's the last. Like, I can expect that happening. I can totally imagine that's that's been the week I've been having.
That happened to you, and I hope that doesn't happen to me this year. Hasn't happened yet since we've owned the house. I've gotten lucky too because I've left the hose attached to the house.
Oh yeah, what Blake's talking about, that was off mic. Yeah, my upstairs neighbor. Glory be to them. No offense to them. I doubt they're ever going to hear this, but still, like they're a perfect upstairs neighbor, except for the fact that in 1 degree weather, and that's 1 degree American freedom units.
Thanks, RFK Jr.
Negative, roughly, I don't know, 20 degrees Celsius. I don't know, negative 12 degrees. I don't know math. It says negative 12 degrees Celsius on my computer, but I think when it's around 1 degree Celsius, that's closer to 20 negative.
It was like 12 when I ran over here. Yeah. But that was a bit.
Yeah, it's cold is all I'm trying to say. Yeah. And my upstairs neighbor did the laundry, which any other day, but when it's that low.
Yeah, when you don't have...
Them pipes don't pop.
Pipes, yeah.
And that's what happened. The pipes popped. My bathroom got a little flooded. And I had a breakdown. I was just like, this is the last straw. This is not the thing I needed. And it was nothing. It was literally nothing. Like three towels to mop everything up and throw a fan on it, and it'll be fine.
It still sucks. It pisses me off.
Yeah, it was frustrating. Yeah, because I'm just sitting in here playing a video game, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing water, and I'm like, that's a lot more water than my drippy faucets that I have going, which are dripping because it's 1 degree out, freedom units.
Yeah.
And goodness me.
Yeah.
Anyways,
this movie.
Yeah, really good.
It is. We didn't talk a incredible amount about what actually happens in the movie, but it is a documentary about a road trip, and we talked about a lot of the stops, actually. Yeah. The growth between these two people's relationship, that's really the important part for me. Because, I'm going to admit here that, like, it wasn't necessarily easy for me when you first came out about this. Yeah. Like, I tried my best not to put that on, but, it just felt like a little bit that I was losing my brother, but really, I just had a sibling and they're still my siblings. Yeah. So, yeah.
And that was part of my worry because, like, a lot of what people knew about me beforehand was just not a persona so much, but a lot of it was a persona.
Yeah,
like sure. I had a lot of who I was from people, and to this day I still do. It's like I like a mystery,
You're an enigma.
I'm the Gatsby. Everybody's like, "What's going on in the Gatsby's life?" I'd like to know what's going on up there. Reality, I just sit and read a lot of books. Yeah.
Yeah, I already knew that.
Yeah. And then occasionally there's a person around and naughty things are happening. But
yeah.
It's not that often anymore. You know.
It could be. Just give it a little time. You know.
DM me if you're interested.
Anyhow.
Come fly my spaceship to
Will and Harper. Will and Harper. It is Will and Harper, right?
Yeah. Harper and Will.
It should be Harper and Will.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
He's the bigger name.
He is the bigger name.
What are you going to do?
He has always been the front person of their relationship. Yeah. I give it a 1.5, I think, for what a documentary can do for you emotionally.
Yeah.
This does really well.
Yeah, it hit deep.
Yeah.
And it's a 5-star film for me just because as a trans woman, I really appreciate the experience Harper went through. Mm-hmm. If you're interested out there, I know Greg is my given name. I go by Greg. I also go by Graywin, however you imagine. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I'll accept anything. If you wanted to keep calling me Greenie, Couch Potatoes out there, you keep calling me Greenie. That's okay.
And I'm Blake.
And I'm Ted.
And I'm Patrick.
And I'm Patrick.
All right. Well,
hi, is this a Krusty Krab?
No, this is Patrick. Stop calling me.
It's been fun.
This has been, it's been nice, really. And I do think that doing this together was, it was important to me anyway.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice feel to have this little talk about myself because I'm a diva.
And I really appreciate it because, you know, even though I've been here to support you, we haven't done an incredible amount of just sitting and talking about it.
Yeah, I definitely, it's still stuff that's one of the things I still pack away as my own experience. Mainly because I'm trying to write a book about it.
A fictionalized
book about it. Yeah. If you want to help me out there, you know, feel free to Venmo me or whatever. Yeah. Keep it under tax money. I don't want to have to report it.
Yeah, so under $600.
$5,000.
Oh, is it for gift?
If you don't do more than $5,000 in Venmo me, and they don't.
Oh, okay. Well, in like eBay, it's like $600, and
they say
same with podcasts.
They say that, but around $500, they don't care. I'm getting audited next week, and I'm the Green Traveler. No, I'm joking. I'm just saying. After all of the they don't care jokes that I just made, the IRS is just like, do we not care, motherfucker? Do we not care? Guess who's getting audited? Oh my God, the Green Traveler from Gorsh. That's who.
But hopefully not the Faceless Leon. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.